Ma Sangye Thoma Uda Meje Sangye Nira Nam Sangye Sangye Nene Mato Dojire Jigme Dawe Lamden Kendere Dorje Jona Dunga Nyogo Jede Je Nazo Dade Gigoro Dega Ziba Jide De Loende Ashe Meme Yeme Maye Yeme Le Shendong Tawara Mene Ngeze Dande Sosa Rangi Rishi Dime Veje Dime Yeje Vezera Nane Mikba Gunla Jabanda Danda Ravri Nambara Jamze Tamje Nima De Loende Temde Raje Vezelve Nanyamang O Meze Me Ganda Droge Dame Daje Yanda Done Tamje Zogbe Sangye Shesho Siwa Diba Mebe Long O Semje Namda Taye Yuje Yeshe Dinga De Loende Tamje Raje Jamche Meye Shedan Beshin Yeshe Ge Mari Mimbase Kege Jaga Dove Ganjarame Kade Joban De Loye Shade Tude De Shinge Balde Shin Chede Jamzo Made Zozoro Tawa Jebe Loya Chojo Me Jinye Dambe Shala Gejo Omen Chera Gundo Tije Daniele Tabge Game Chage Yongson Chanjo Nimbe Lange Karma Ba Miche Debe Je Zondo Omen Chege Yinge Borone Dezon Sangye Genge Ngon Ransem Chegoro Ngon Denze Ba Zawe Lamne Shala Gencha Ugyen Genge Jadane Shingda Ezere Tamje Namko Lejan Chege Jilme Cheba Jonjoro Je Ta Semje Tamje Ge Dendo Zogwe Sangye Ge Kopang Togo Ye Di Chedo Tene Tewa Chimbe Che Nyene Nyamsale Margi Samba Jajawa Chanjo Semge Gunongon Dodang Tena Chi.
Trashidele, everyone. Please listen to Dharma with a vast motivation of bodhicitta, thinking that I would like to become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, I am going to listen to Dharma with full devotion.
Gan Shebar Jawe Chune, Dene Cheta Chamba Kumbe, Shene Songbe, Tekwa Chimbo, Ju Lame Tenju, Tadela Sheja Yela Ne Dun Yubi Nangne, Tatama Trinley Shebigi Koso. Trinley Shebadela Dorde Madan Chebar Sheba Ni Yubi Nangne. 당보 공도송네 니바 제바르시베기 겁소.
The Dharma that I'm going to teach tonight is called Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra, and that was taught by Maitreya Buddha. And it has mainly 7 subjects, and out of 7 topics, the 6 are already done. Now I'm at the 7th one, which is talking about the Buddha activities. And again, this subject or this section has mainly two divisions, which is a concise way of saying concise presentation and detailed presentation. And again, the first one is already done. Now I'm at the second one.
Niba Jabar Shebala, Soso, Peden Jarni Shebadam, Bajo de Captain Dua, Larang de Kebar Shebadam, Sumi Benane, Tatambo, Soso, Peden Jardi Sheba, Locosumban. Della, that Peden Jardi Shebala, you were good. Then on a good number tembe Peden Java. Dam ngak chube beden jarwa, to kenze chapchul beden jarwa, chulba chowe beden jarwa, tene ngaba yeshi chokchul beden jarwa, chukwa toki sangwa samgi mishaba beden jarwa, ta tela lebare, chukwa toki sangwa samgi mishaba beden jarwa.
And again, the second section, which is a detailed presentation, it has many subdivisions, some division, not devotion, division. Okay, I'm correcting my English myself. And most of them are already done. Now I'm at the ones where we are talking about how the Buddha's mind benefits sentient beings without any conceptual thought. So I'm there, and I'm going to continue from there.
Tene dhruva thoki sangwe pe jarwa la sum tokme degu dhubchul, be me takdu shukchul, nyepar kawe chungbar temba o, ta de nane tangbo gongdo song ne, nipa be me takdu shukchul.
And again, the presentation how Buddha benefits sentient being without any conceptual thought by his mind has three divisions. And first one is already done, and second one is called the way there is continuous manifestation without any effort, and I'm going to continue from there. And the third one is called presentation of similarity in terms of being difficult to find. So I'm going to start from the second, because the first one is already done, and second one is the way there is continuous manifestation without any deliberate effort. In Tibetan, if you know Tibetan, Beme Takdu Shuksul. So Beme is without any effort, and Takdu is continue or permanently. Shuksul is the way how it present.
Jidara norbo rinchen tokme debe nor beba mebar shenba dala rabder tar deshin toba beme jidara webar ni shenge dundu siba chise takdo sho she sungde be jidara na ishinge norbo rinpo chela kunlongi nambar tokba me shindo kunlongge nambar tokba me shindu gang la gang debe norde nam solwan tabgen dulja nam la gang debe norde nam beba dang cholwa mebaran solwan debe kyo shenba dag la rabdu terwa tar beba namdog dang bejar meba 메신도 솔란 지달 타바신도 되고 때로다른 대신도 토베 왕보 상제 남기 장 남바르 똑발라서 베바당 졸와 메바르 둘자 센제랑랑 라지다르 외신 참바르니 다 왕보 림바 감 이렇게 림바 매비게 림바 지다를 참만니 최대 말라서바 둘자 택바 체중 남만나서바 신기 된 타닥 두배 체도 시바코르와 타메바 이 지시도 내기 버도 준 미쳐버 되는 딱도 되네 태과 주종 성쟁기 컴모 매바던데 매기 초기 걸로고네 슈퍼제바이.
So the metaphors or the simile or examples that are used here are also very difficult to understand actually. So if you are not familiar with these things, then it doesn't make any sense. Therefore, you have to know what these simile or metaphors are. First, we are using something called Chittamani in Sanskrit, or in Tibetan, Yishin Nurbo, which is translated as, in English, wishful feeling jewel. So this is something new, I think, for the Western people. Maybe I'm not sure. Anyway, so what it does is, if you pray or supplicate to this jewel, which is called the Chittamani, then it granted you whatever you wish for. And this is an example being used here. I explain a little bit what wish feeling full jewel is. Okay, now the text says, I have two translations here. One is from Khenpo Rinpoche, Khenpo Sutum Gyamso Rinpoche's student, and another one is from Dzogtsai Khenze Rinpoche's student, and the root text. But the commentary, I have only one. That is from my guru, Khenpo Sutum Gyamso Rinpoche's student. Okay? So I'm going to read as Khenpo did in Tibetan, and also I'm going to explain wherever he has explained. So the root text, the first translation, it says, as a precious gem, Chittamani, which is free from thought, fully bestows the desired riches on others. Doing so without any effort, the Muni. Muni is, again, Sanskrit word, because Buddha has so many different names. So in Tibetan word, it is used Tupa. Tupa means Buddha. So Tupa is actually a translation of the Muni Sanskrit word, which actually means the sage. Sage, S-A-G-E, sage, okay, sage. So here the Muni just means Buddha. The Muni always stays for the other's sake, as meditated by each and as long as existences last, doing so without any effort. This is the first translation. And I'm going to read another translation also, because maybe it might give you some different idea of the understanding of the Tibetan word. The other translation says, the same word in Tibetan, such a precious gem bestow on others desire wealth, perfectly, effortlessly, and without any concept. Similarly, effortlessly, and however appropriate, the mighty sage, now he used the English word mighty sage, which is Tupa or Muni, which means Buddha, remains constantly in the world. It's difficult to get these two sounds, R and L together. World, in the world, okay. To help others for as long as it persists. These are the root texts. And then the commentary says, a precious wish-fulfilling gem is free from any thought or intention. So it is said that the Yishin Nurbo or Chittamani doesn't have any thought to give, say that I'm going to, because this person is praying me, I'm going to fulfill his wish, and this person is not praying me, I'm not going to fulfill his wish. He has no thought. He's completely free of thought. But somehow, this is the way how it works. If somebody supplicate him with full trust, then it grants everything that you wish for. So that's what example here using. So a precious wish fulfilling gem is free from any thought or intention, yet it bestows on others beings who pray to it. So those people who are fortunate enough to know how to pray to it properly will get all the benefit from it. Who supplicate it, all riches and goods, no matter what they may desire, doing so without any effort or labor. Likewise, that was example. Now we're talking about how Buddha does. Likewise means just like this wish-fulfilling gem does. Buddha's Tupe Wangbo, in Tibetan it's a Tupe Wangbo, which means the Lord of Sages or the Lord of Munis, stay in endless samsara. Here it just mentioned because samsara has very long, that's why it's endless. Endless samsara. In Tibetan it says, let me see what is in Tibetan. Yes, endless. stay in endless samsara always and ever presently, as long as existences may last. So existences here again means same thing, the samsara. In Tibetan we use the word sipa. Sipa is another word for samsara. Usually samsara is korwa, but sipa also means the same thing. And that's why we try to make different word in English also, existences, which means samsara. Or samsara may last. To accomplish the final benefit of the other beings who are to be trained. To be trained is in Tibetan we say dulja. Dulja means to be trained or to be taught, those fortunate people who have the fortunate enough karma to be trained by Buddha. They teach the Dharma, which means that these munis or the Lord of Sages, they teach the Dharma as it is suited, true and merited by each, doing so without any effort or labor in terms of ideation and so on. Ideation here is the same as usually I say like conceptual thought. In Tibetan we just say tokpa, but this is used ideation. That is the translation of usually I say conceptual thought. So anyway, in short, just like the wish fulfilled gem does, whoever prays him, supplicate him, granted all wishes, just like that. Buddha also remains in samsara without any conceptual thought saying, I'm going to benefit this particular being, I'm not going to say benefit this particular, he has no conception, but those people who are fortunate enough to get help from him will get ultimately. That's how, that's the meaning of this word. That's all. 숨바들이도 숨바 예벌가에 충분한 바식대.
다 숨바 예벌가에 총발된 바 선생님. 다 예벌가에 노르를 뭐지 예벌가와 대낭신 대동 총벌다 근쪽으로 뭐지 상제기 예벌가와 강치를 점조 싸우 내대 러드베 기다른 노르부 성부 조드 럽니까 대신도와 신도 깔는 유몽신 이들 대식 통화 니까 셔버죠 선 예송됨 나 좀생 관계체를 점저 첨보 농도 추진 다 점저 첨보네 사천백이 옥나네 바네 놀보를 뭐 제대네 점저 첨배 농도 내버려 점저 첨보되네 사천보도 이게 옥도 내버려 좀전 대체나 뭐 놀보를 뭐제 대랑 된도 내신 되번 남기 기다른 그대 탐제 주베 신기 놀보를 뭐제 성보 대 선남 맨비 조와디 랍도 녀버까와 선남 첨보 유백이 다 미래레니 이마도 선남 멤버 대마이미기 미 탐제기 놀보를 뭐제디 톱톱이요 말이 그거 조와디 랍도 녀버까와 빼 대신도 코로나는 네비 조와 타예바 군장 다세바 감동 코로나 네비 조와 타예바 군장 깔바 신도 년신 다 상제 근조던 제일위기 깔바 매바 깔바 신도 년신 나토베 뉴몽바당 센터 깔바 신도 년바 좀생가래서나 되네 뉴몽바 나토베기 에티바래 나토바세 다 벤제르 디나라 자위기 뉴몽 잔윤 두고 마리파 등직 대작 등이 공조 등 숨, 나젤 등 시, 대점 등아 따와 등 주그리다. in la tawa dang se yewa mongbu yorewa, di in the number not so one. Tawa la yena tawa nga tobu yin. Then Zanyan Druk tobu chik dong. Then Tendegi, Yamobegi, Tibadang. Then Yewi Numumba, Yewi Numumba Nishu Zam. Yewi Numumba Nishu. De la sobe nyombe sinbe chirna rang rang gi yi dimadang cheba madelwa dimadang cheba yenzang dir dewar shibe ku ni gi nangwa ta sugi gu longje zobe gu dang tube ku ni gi nangwa tongwa ni chokdo nyebar kawar shebar jo shindo ne nyebar kawa imba shegore.
The third, which the title is Presentation of Similarity in Terms of Being Difficult to Find. Again, I have to go a little detail about how difficult it is to get the wish-fulfilled jewel for those people who are not familiar with this term. Usually, it is said that you have something called like treasure hunt, right? Treasure hunt? You go for treasure hunt in the ocean. So it is said that the wish-fulfilled jewel or Ijin Nurbo or the Chitamani is located in the depth of ocean. And then therefore it's not really easy to get it for those people who have no fortunate enough karma. So those people who have accumulated lots of merit to have enough fortunate karma to get this will only get it. Just like that. So this is how difficult it is to get that particular jewel, which is called the wish-fulfilling jewel. Just like that, most of the people in this Kali Yuga or degenerated time, most of the beings are not really fortunate enough to have met a Buddha, true Kayas, not the Dharmakaya, but Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. So this is an example like that. So let's go to the text. It says, the root text says, the good jewel lying underground or in the ocean is very hard to find or for beings wanting it. Likewise, one should understand that beings held in the grip of poisons or kleshas, I put klesha, because in Tibetan it says nyomong. So kleshas and whose karmic gifts are poor, which is in Tibetan is kalngen, means not too fortunate people. So it translated says karmic gifts are poor, will hardly see the sugata in their minds. Another translation says, just as it is difficult for beings here desirous of such a gem to encounter one, because they lie underground or in the ocean, so also should one know it to be difficult to see a sugata. Sugata is another translation, no, another name of Buddha. In Tibetan, sugata is dershek. Tathagata is Deshin Shekpa, Sugata is Dershek. So they are all same. It just means the Buddha. So since in Tibetan it says Dershek, so they use the Sugata. For those beings here, poorly fated. This is Kalngen. The first translation says poor karmic gift, and here is a poorly fated, and in defilements and grabs. So anyway, the commentary, which was by Jamgon Khontrul, says, a precious wish-fulfilling gem, granting all desires and necessities, is contained in the depth of the great ocean, or lies hidden underground in the great earth. Because of this, being of poor merit. These are so many different translations. In Tibetan, just kalngen. Kalngen means not too fortunate. Ngen is bad, kal is fortune here. So it means who has a bad fortune. Okay, so that means those people who have not really accumulated enough merit to see a Buddha or so forth. So anyway, this says, because of this, beings of poor merit who desire the pure gem and look for it have extreme difficulty in finding it. Likewise, one should understand that it is extremely difficult for the endless numbers of beings abiding in samsara to see the appearances of true kayas of the Sugatas. So true kayas is here, is the Sambhoga kaya and Nirmana kaya. Okay. To see the appearances of the true kayas of Sugatas in their own minds, actually, which are bound with pollution. Tima is just as like Tima Dacheva means contaminated mind, or with, which are bound up with the pollution. And this is because the karmic gifts of this being are extremely poor, and they are in the iron or grip of various mental poisons. It says mental poisons, I put klesha, because in Tibetan it says nyomongba. And nyomongba not soba. So, and then in Tibetan, okay, this translation says, grip of various mental poisons and secondary afflictions. In Tibetan, it says nyomongba and nyewe nyomba. So I use the Sanskrit word, because if I use Sanskrit word, then everyone is using the same. In English word, each translation uses different words, so some is confusing. So nyomongba is just klesha, and then nyewe nyomba is upakleshas. So upakleshas. So if you ask how many of them there, in the Abhidharma, it says there are 6 kleshas, or 6 root kleshas, and 20 upakleshas, or 20 secondary kleshas. So here, when it says the various kleshas, which means the 6 root klesha is like ignorance, of course, and all these 3 poisons we like hatred, desire or attachment, and then arrogance, jealousy, and so forth. And one particularly is we call it view, which actually means wrong view, I think. Okay, so even with just a view, that actually it means the wrong view. If it is right view, then this is not a klesha, right? So it's wrong view. Again, if you divided the wrong view in, then there are so many different, like, many hundreds. But usually we have 5 main wrong views. So that is what it means when it says the various kleshas. And then upa kleshas has 20 different sub-kleshas. So all these beings who are with all these kind of kleshas, who are bounded with this, the root kleshas and the secondary kleshas or upa kleshas, then they are not easy to reflect the 2 kayas, Sambhoga kaya and Nirmana kaya of Buddha in their mind. Just like those people who had not fortunate enough karma to get the wish-fulfilled jewel cannot get that one, just like that. That's all.
다 듬바 송게 상위 빼자로는 제다를 전년기니 저 생기 남리 레종와 남도 매징 소매바 치당 나나 미네 따라 대신 색비송 생기 남리 레종와 남발 동네 소매징 치당 나나 내마인 제송됨 배지다르나 양
툭 차선나 툭 차는 송래서 툭 차는 송래로다 나서
툭 듬바송 나서 배지다르나 작차라서 전년기니 전나쪽서 나와 다 ngaron toge wai tena dak chembane wai teke jabana jinta dak de nang shingi da na choba jungwa dar na chokso nangwa de 대다 담예장 깬기 죽인 속비 왕기 신 년바보 남기 랑랑기 죄바던 튠바를 남바를 리바 잠래 중심 nangwa yingi ta dakshane nyambabo namgi da jidar cheba nangshin pajone dakshane da jungi yobare di jungbegi kapsu dak de la tene kanzo nge da jungi yin nge da nyamba jungi da me nyamba jungi nyambegi tendegi nambar tokpa yorobesana yomare nangwa yingi dak la sokpa la kunlongi nambar tokpa mejing da nge da nyamba jingi mi nyamba jingi nyambe kunlongi nambar tokpa mejing dila di jobar chao nyambi soam bedol yang mebe da nge mi dila da di dabo nyamba di dabo jingi nge mi dila da mi nyamba di dabo jingi nyambe ki nambar tokpa yo mare bedol yo mare bedol da nambar tokpa mebe yinaya da rangi ngo yang dak la sokbi chirul da nang na mineba tar da rangi ngo de yang tene dakje dang na dak digi chilol dugam nang la dugam bar na dugam dakje dang na tene chi nang bar sum gang do yang neba yo mare mineba tar 대신도 대신식 반남기 담배 최송배 저 나속수 나와양 대신도 대신식과 조배 성진 남기 담배 최송배기 저 나속수 나와 다 택바 침배기 최기 저 택바 증배기 최기 저 택바 침배기 최기 저 나속수 나양 둘제 왕기 신년바보 남기 둘자 랑랑소의 감왕 몇번 남기 현년바보는 랑랑게 삼바당 튠바를 다 택바 지중기 둘자를 택바 랑랑소의 삼바당 튠바 택바 지중기 최기다디 중기요래 튠바는 남바리바 잠레 중심 나와 인기 당제라니 꿀롱기 남발 도바 강야 매징 네 택바 침배 최고르기 콜로고르기 네 두자들라 태바 충을 치고게 냠베기 남바도바 요마리 강야 요마리 강야 메징 딜라 디 템버 저 냠비 소 베줄 강야 멜라 메나야 다랑게 ngo양 상제기 꾸이 치를다 낭낭 네바마이노 다데 체계 골로고비게 다데 상제기 꾸이 낭라여데 치려여데 다우지 당나 되네 치는 거나요 네바요 말이
And that actually completed the presentation about how Buddha benefit beings by his mind without any conceptual thought. And now the seventh, in this seventh chapter, the seventh subdivision is the example or simile metaphors that shows how Buddha benefit sentient beings by his speech without any conceptual thought. Or according to this translation, I can say without any ideation. Okay. So the root text says, again, I have two different translations. Just as the sound of an echo arises due to the perception of others, without thought or purposeful labor, and neither abiding without or within. So, the speech of the Tathagata arises due to the perception of others without thought or purposeful labor, and neither abiding without or within. This is one translation of the root text. And then another translation says, the echo's sound arises through others' faculties of cognition, concept-free. It is effortless and abides neither without or within. Likewise, Tathagata's speech arises due to others' cognitive faculties and is concept-free, effortless, and abides neither without nor within. Now the commentary says, as echo resounding from a rock, and so on. So when if you go to a cave, C-A-V, cave, and if you say, oh, then it also, it will tell you again same thing, oh, like that, you know. No, like, that's what we call echo, right? Echoes, or taksha in Tibetan, taksha. So an echo resounding from a rock, and so on, comes into appearance as various sound. Yet, in terms of its necessary condition, it only appears and arises due to the perception of faculty of cognition of others, of those who hear it. So when this echo comes, it arises, it comes into being because of so many conditions and causes and conditions come together that are not necessary for this echo to be formed. It does so in accordance with their very own way of expressing themselves. The rock and so forth in its turn is without any intention, thought, or purposeful labor and effort. It does not think, I will utter this particular thing to this particular person. The own essence of the sound, furthermore, neither abides outside the rock or so on, nor does it abide within. So what it is saying is, when you shout in a cave, rocky cave, then it also shout back to you. But if you analyze, then you don't find where it came from inside the rock or outside the rock or where. But it comes because all the necessary cause and conditions are gathered there at that moment, and because of that, it just happened to be there. Just like that. This is example of the Buddha's speech, how he worked for others. Likewise, when the Tathagatas expound the sound, when the Tathagata expound the sacred Dharma, the sound of their speech comes into appearance as various tones. So when Buddha taught, because of the student, some people hear Buddha's teaching in a Hinayana way, or some people hear in the Pratika Buddha yana, some people hear in the Sharvaka yana, some people hear in the Bodhisattva yana. But actually, Buddha doesn't have any conceptual thought saying, I'm going to teach this particular being, the Pratika Buddha yana, I'm going to teach this particular being, the Sharvaka yana, and I'm going to teach this particular being, the Bodhisattva yana. Buddha doesn't have any kind of this thought. He's totally concept-free. But because of people's on their karma, and then they hear in different way. So, yet this also, in terms of the disciple, only appears and arises due to the perception of others, of those who listen to it. And it does so in accordance with their very own individual ways of thinking and frames of mind. A Buddha in his turn is without the slightest thought or intention, and he is free from any deliberate effort or labor. A Buddha does not think, I will teach this particular subject to this particular person. Furthermore, the own essence of the sound of his speech, the teaching of the Buddha, neither abides on the surface or nor within his body. So this is the example of the echo doesn't abide inside the rock or outside the rock like that, when Buddha teaches, actually his speech also doesn't abide inside his body or outside his body, and he doesn't have any conceptual thought saying, I'm going to teach this person this subject and that person. But according to people's own mind, their karma, then they hear in different ways.
다 제바 꾸이 상위 배저로니 중세 매진 낭와 매 미과 매진 땐매라 미기 람레 랍데바 숙매 땐도 매바이 칼라 지다르 토당마 토양 통양되네 대다민 대신 탐제 상제라 통양되네 대다민 제송됨 베르나 응어버 중세 주바 매진 왕셰라 나와 매바당 대다기 미귤도 주바 매진 땐비 시양매라 케바르 미기 왕베 람레장 랍도 대바 다디 가르나 남가디르가 남가 톡제기 숙수 주바 매진 셴기 미귤도 디오셰 땐도 매비 체녀쟁기 두마제 남칼라니 지다르나 가시기 유기차르나와 남 토와당 셈 다이 치통 남칼라 숙요 말에 왕베율도 줄베 통태기 숙요 말에 이나양 되네 나라도 단다 강도 둘자 셈전 가시기 되네 의기 잘 통화돼 남과데 톰버더버지 통화당 타이 잘 나와디 마와더버지 되네 된데기 통낭직 통계요래 요래 세모나 입당 카톡 나속수 통양 다 가브리 timbal라 때네 남가 세르보당 음보당 강조 카르보당 나볼라서바 나속수 통양 된담바를 남가 되니 나속수 나와 대다를 덴바를 여바 미노세 이나양 되네 남가 랑경에 내제나 남가 입당 카톡수 두바 요 말이 빼 대신도 둘제 삼배 왕기 상제 점된대기 제바 주니 뜸바 속 남들 다이바 탐제 상제라 여바 통양 상제기 제바 주니 땡게레 근데 제바 통나양 된담배 상제 되니 깨가라 소바 나속도 나와 대다를 된라 덴바 여바 민데 된라 되네 건조 상제랑원에 되네 건조 입당 제바 주니라서베기 되네 제바 뜸베기 건조 다 제바 되서양 요 말이 그래도 여바 민데 주로 메바니기 치로 된다 마동바니 동바니로 주로 메비 치르나 되네 제바 주니 때 말아서베기 제바 담에라도 맞대양 된라 두바 요 말이
Now the eighth, seventh is done about how he benefit beings with his speech without any ideation or conceptual thought, which was the echo was it was easy because we all know echo how it works. It's much easier than the wishful jewel to understand. Now the eighth, it is again presentation of how Buddha physically benefits sentient beings without any ideation or conceptual thought. And the example given here is space or sky. Okay, let me read the text now. The sacred aspect of body. Space is nothing, space is nothing at all and does not appear. It is neither an object of the senses nor a support. It is totally beyond being a path for the eye, which means you cannot see, it cannot be seen by your eye. So this is kind of a poetic way of saying. It says, beyond, it is totally beyond being the path for the eye. Because in Tibetan it's a Miki Lamla Rabdeba. So Miki Lamla Rabdeba, this is translation, direct translation from Tibetan. Mik is eye, Lam is path. And Rabdeba is already past, which means beyond. It's actually, according to Tibetan, it's very good translation, but I don't know how much sense it makes in English itself. Okay, so, okay. It is totally beyond being path for the eye, which means cannot be seen by eye. Of course, the space cannot be seen by us. And it has no form and is not to be demonstrated, to show, you know, demonstrate, right? Demonstrated. My tongue is sometimes doesn't work. Okay, demonstrated. How do you pronounce? Demonstrated, yeah, demonstrated. Okay, I know the spelling, I know the meaning, but my tongue my tongue doesn't accept it. Demonstrated. Okay, it is not to be demonstrated or not to be shown. And I think this is better. Or not to be presented. I think that's easier for me. Same meaning. In Tibetan, ten to meba means you cannot show. Say this is a space. So okay. Nevertheless, even space is like that. Nevertheless, it is seen as a being high or low. And this is a root test, so we will have more elaborate way of explaining it in the commentary. Nevertheless, it is seen as being high and low, but it is not at all. But it is not at all like that. That is just now we done with the simile or the metaphor. Now the meaning. Likewise, all his appearance here means the Buddha. Okay, appearances. Likewise, all his appearances are seen as Buddha, but he is not at all like that. Let me read another translation. Even though space is nothing whatsoever, none manifest, not a mental object, without foundation, completely invisible, without form and not demonstrable. 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 That's what it says. Which means cannot be shown. Again, not something that you can show or you can present it. It is seen as being up and down, but space is not like that. Likewise, everything seen relating to the Buddha is not like him at all. Okay, now let me go to the commentary. Space does not exist as a thing at all, and it does not appear to the sense, faculties, and consciousnesses. So usually, if something if something is to be seen, then only the way we can see it is by our eyes consciousnesses. So space is out of that. So it cannot be seen. It does not exist as their object, and is also not a supportive ground for them. So what it means is, usually when we talk about the eyes consciousness, then the eye faculty is support for this. So space is not like that also. That's what it is saying actually. In particular, it is totally beyond being a path for the sense faculty of eye. This is the explanation of the root text, which means cannot be seen by eye. It does not exist as form obstructing other things from being seen. And it cannot be demonstrated. Demonstrated, right? This is a very strange word. I know spelling it, meaning everything, but it just doesn't work my tongue. Demonstrated. As another object in terms of being able to say, it is this. So which actually means the sky you cannot see, you cannot see the space, you cannot show the space to others saying this is in this color, that shape, blah blah blah. No, that's what the concise meaning is, which has these features. But somehow usually we see the sky in different ways, various ways. Some people perceive appearances arising its middle as being high. For example, if you look up, then we think the middle is very high, the streams are low, like that. But actually it is not that way. If you see, oh, this is here very high, the space, there is not too high, it's low like that. That's what it's saying. Okay. And middle as being high, and appearances arising at its fringes are being low. It is also seen in terms of shape and color. In actual fact, so usually we say the sky is blue, right? We say that, but actually it's color free. It's not what we see as a blue is not really the space or the sky. So it says in terms of shape and it is also seen in terms of shape and color. In actual fact, though space appears as various things, but does not truly exist that way, like that. Likewise, now the example is done. Just it's so hard to understand the example. So now the Buddha, okay, this is the metaphor or the simile that's given here. How Buddha performed his physical activities to benefit beings without any conceptual thought or ideation. Likewise, just like how we explain this space being, likewise, all the illusory appearances, infinite in number. Again, this word is here. Demonstrating the 12 deeds. We usually say 12 deeds of Buddha. That's where 12 deeds of Buddha. We have prayed 12 deeds of Buddha, but actually it says that also doesn't actually exist. Actually, it says demonstrating the 12 deeds and so on, which are due to the aspiration and way of thinking of the disciples, are seen to exist as Buddha in actual fact, F-A-C-T, fact, in actual fact. I would make sure, I need to make sure people understand. Because in actual fact, though the true and ultimate Buddha, which appears in various ways as something that arises, ceases, and so on, does not really exist in that way, because the true Buddha is unchanging. Guru me panito. Last la ta sen sen. Ta ngani so gu basum satu. Te yan na yom dong. Yu sha. Dong. So now time is off. We will stop here. Tonight is 8:58. So we will have 2 minutes to dedicate. Let's do the dedication. First, we will do the long life prayer for His Holiness. Then we will do our usual dedication and Tai Chi prayer. Oi, Jagoi, Nije, Razoi, Karma, Boy, Jagoi, Tele, Jedoi, Karma, Jagoi, Dozoi, Wangore, Karma, Organ, Dondoi, Tele, Jabde, Zoi, Sishe, Panjaya, Maloi, Jungwe, Tube, Deba, Yure, Neba. Tenzin chebe gewa damban wanjo gire yore shabde soy chungai chenpo daye ne dunga samjen tarjin kalba jewa samyes chodun deje jo yore je. Our usual dedication prayer and the auspicious verses at the end. Oy sonam de tamje se wani tamne nyebe ranaya pamje ne ke ga na je ba rubai sebe sole rubai rubai joy jambal ba chidre kemba kundo sambo de yan de jen de da wenje je da lo je ke wa de da tamje rabdo Sangye kusum nyebe chela Chenye Mingyo Dembe Chela Dangende Mejen Dembe Chela Chidra Mo Mono Drupara Jo Dushe Le Jai Jave Tele Karma Baden Dembe Nyingbo Chodra Gui Jai Jave Gemen Tao Ba Rabe Pere Traje Jo Chungma to call it test labgala. Chungma ta public liminda ti Zoom ti lagwa. So I think I have a very small short announcement about this Uttaratantra Shastra class. I think I'm not 100% sure, but 99% sure. This is the last public talk on next weekend. We have very extensive class whole day, but this is only on Zoom. And if you want to receive, then you have to register and KDT website. You can go to KDT website, then you can get the Zoom link, then you will receive. I think that's how it works. Next, which is May 7 and May 8. We have morning session, afternoon session, both day. And but for that, you have to register, and registration is very easy. You just go to KDT website, then you can get the link from there. Or maybe you can also go to my Facebook. I have also shared the KDT post. Okay, good night.
Zoom is it?
Zoom is it? Or if you can physically present here, I think that's also okay. You can attend to KDT here. And then you can register either on Zoom or you can present here. Okay, good night. Thank